Welcome to Typebook. We are Chris and Rose, INTJ and INFJ, and we are cataloging a variety of people based on their Jungian psychological types and their MBTI four-letter abbreviations. Please like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and engage with us in the comment sections so we can get the word out about the work we are doing here.
Okay, Adam Drivers today.
This was a fast track request, so thank you for that.
Yeah, and a very interesting request. We enjoyed this one.
We did.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
Have you been bitten by the mosquitoes?
No. Surprisingly not. Usually I'm a mosquito magnet.
Me too. I've decided it's because I'm basically sweet at heart, and they know that.
Oh, I always thought I was angry that I just have a lot of blood coursing through my veins, and that's why I was always attracted a lot of mosquitoes.
Well, unfortunately, I have too, but I'm going to ask you some silly questions first, and then we'll get into the meat of it.
Okay.
At the beginning of the story, she mentions all these things she loves about you. And one of them was that you can tell people when they have food stuck in their teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I once had a boyfriend who I smiled at, an ex-boyfriend, and then I had this big veggie in my teeth. How good are you at telling people, and have you ever been caught in something like that?
Have you ever been caught with food stuck in my teeth? Yeah, all the time. I think on the way over here. I mean, I'm so used to showing people my teeth to make sure that I don't have, lettuce or just a pound of protein, or, that's a gross image, or I'm just trying to keep going down the rabbit hole of gross images. Fish, maybe, or a small leopard that's not stuck in my teeth. So I have no problems with it. I feel like it's an act of generosity to tell someone that their face is messed up.
I agree with you. The other thing that she says is that you play games well. So I was wondering, are you very much into winning? And what kinds of games did you play when you were a kid?
What kind of games did I pull?
Okay, let's stop.
When I was a kid. I mean, a lot of...
What an interesting question to start off an interview with.
I know.
I like how she said it was her ex-boyfriend. I guess there were too many times where he didn't tell her she had food in her. Yeah. She was embarrassed too much in public, so I guess she decided, that's it. I'm going to find a man who tells me when I have food in my teeth. He said it's an act of generosity to tell someone that they have food in their teeth. I would say exactly the same. If I see someone with food in their teeth, I'm going to take them aside and tell them. Would you?
It depends, actually. Believe it or not. Because sometimes I would think, yeah, I better tell them. But then sometimes I think, can't be bothered.
Adam Driver comes across right away as a bit of an enigma.
He does, yeah.
And we kind of find this with INFP, we find this with ISFJ males, because they're so thoughtful in a very specific way that it's hard to determine what side they go on, in typical MBTI parlance, right? Are they thinkers? Are they feelers? You're not really sure, because they kind of come out sort of on the fence a bit, at least for me.
Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get in some ways, but then you do. So, like, for instance, when we first watched this video, I was like, oh, which way is he going to go? Is he going to say, oh, no, I couldn't say that to someone?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he going to say, yes, I would, of course? It just depends how you look at it, isn't it? Like, it could go either way. Because some ISFJs would certainly feel bad pointing it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, they couldn't do it because there'd be the cause of someone's like, oh, have I? Oh, no. Sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
He is a little bit different. He's not typical. He's not much of a Hollywood star. And I don't mean this in an offensive way, but he's quite ordinary. He feels like someone you've known. And I think that's the appeal. People like that. Whereas like Henry Cavill was like the stand-up guy who It just ticks all the boxes in terms of doing the right thing and saying the right thing. He's very polished. He's a guy you could kind of know as well. This guy's a bit more of a guy you could know in terms of he's just very raw and real, and he's not afraid to show his quirks. Let's go again. 3, 2, 1, get.
Tag, a lot of
Monopoly wasn't
basketball. No, Monopoly is too sophisticated for me. I like the one Taboo. That's my game. Good for me. There's a lot of anger and a lot of anxiety, and you don't get faulted for yelling out answers.
Well, this might be a good segue then. There's a traumatic scene where you end up crying. And one of the things about our society is that we don't allow men to cry. So how easily do you cry? And I tend to cry when I'm angry. What makes you cry?
Indigestion is a good one. It makes me cry. I mean, I can cry at random things, mostly in the air, in an airplane, because of I feel like it's the altitude. So you watch something that's really I don't think it's supposed to be moving, but I always find it moving.
The other part that was, again, traumatizing but just so brilliant was the way they talk to each other. I was raised that you fight fairly.
What does that mean, fight fairly?
You never say the worst thing that you can to someone, because they'll always remember it,
right,
even when you are friendly again. What was it like to do those scenes? Did you have to stay away from Scarlett? What was it like afterwards?
It's hard to say. They were hard things to say. We knew. I think with this script, when I just read it, it was I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful, and I'm as just like a document, as a script, it was beautiful. But for this one, I was always surprised, when we actually had to say the words, how it was more taxing than I thought it was going to be. I'm like, oh, okay, but
All right,
once you actually have to internalize the.
Okay, so I mentioned a segment ago about how when I see certain manifestations of certain males, it's kind of hard to see the difference. It's like, is it an INFP or is it ISFJ? And in this case, he's typed as an INFP on the database.
Okay.
And I think this segment has just kind of destroyed that, because she's asking him about crying.
She's asking quite
him
NF sort of questions in some way.
Right. Yeah. And so the first thing he does is to sort of.
Yeah, I think he's sort of deflecting in a way.
Deflecting, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Right. So he said indigestion right away. Well, indigestion makes me cry. Things floating around an airplane or whatever. And then she's really not going to let him do that. She wants him to give her, I think we said this in another interview, right? So the interviewer was looking for, I guess, for lack of a better word, an FI answer. They were looking for deep insights into the person's emotional state, and they weren't getting it. And I don't think she's getting it here. She wants something from him, and he's not really.
He's not
comfortable giving it. No, he doesn't really. All he kept saying is, it's beautiful. He knows how he feels about it. But again, it's very difficult for Effie to put these feelings into words, because you have TI, right? You have to internalize it. It takes time. If you're caught off guard and ask these sorts of questions, it's hard to answer in the moment. So you can tell he's kind of uncomfortable with this line of questioning, and he's not going to be able to give her what she's looking for.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's got that sort of ISFJ-ness to sort of be good about it, and he's trying not to panic, and he's trying to give something, and he's doing it through his humour, really.
Right. Well, that was the first thing he did, but now he's having a difficult time. So he's got to find some bearing in this.
Yeah, I think he's about to fumble a little bit.
Yeah, he has to find some solid ground on which to stand now. And so that's what's happening right now. He's kind of, falling through the air, looking for the side of the wall that he can grab onto.
In a lot of his live interviews, Jimmy Kimmel or whatever, that sort of thing, he speaks very sort of confidently. And he sort of speaks like a TE person. And it can be quite deceptive because he seems to try really hard in those instances to try and be, fast and give a good experience. And I think this is something that he might have learned to do, speaking up. And because it's quite unusual, a lot of ISFJs don't do that. They have a more relaxed way of speaking. He's not like it here as much, but he definitely is in the live interviews. And I think it's because he has a military career before this.
Right.
I think it's something he's learned.
Yeah, he was in the Marines, right?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting circumstance. We talk about the circumstantial all the time, so.
Yeah, ISFJs couldn't possibly be in the Marines. Right?
That's not what I meant, but
Oh. Well.
I just meant it was an interesting circumstantial thing to know in light of what you said, how he comes out speaking a bit more, maybe confidently. It's probably not the right word, but it could be military training.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how everybody will say, oh yeah, they went in the Marines or the Army or whatever, and they came out a different person, but that just can't be the case when it comes to MBTI or something.
Yeah.
Everyone just erases that from their brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like and subscribe. It certainly keeps us motivated to make some more videos. And if you want someone to be typed, let us know in the comments or fast track it through our email. 3, 2, 1, go.
Language and mean it, then I it kind of took you to a place sometimes. But so I don't really have an answer for what it was like because I wasn't analyzing it. We're just kind of playing the scene. But I think the scene that you're referring to, we shot over the course of 2 days, and there wasn't a lot of laughter. And it was really exhausting. But it's kind of what the scene was. So we didn't really talk about it, I guess. We just kind of
all right, let's
kept
stop.
doing it.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
there you go. So he's found his wall to grab onto already. And he's also saying that he didn't internalize it. He was just feeling it.
Yeah.
So he even is saying that. He didn't process it in that way. He was feeling it. He was going with it, but not to really think about it.
Yeah, I guess it's an unnecessary step. An FI person would certainly internalize it and, be, for want of a better word, be thinking, even though they're not thinking, they're sort of feeling on it in an FI way. But if you do the same thing with a TI function, but what would be the point?
Right, in
It's
the moment.
fake. It's a script.
That's right.
And if you've done the feeling as your first step and you felt it and you gave a good performance because you felt it, then you're done.
Right.
So for an ISFJ, this is kind of like a what kind of question.
To support our project, please comment, like, and subscribe. We want to encourage a dialogue in the comments, so substantiated disagreement is welcome. Check out the playlist for this type and our recommended video below. If there's someone you want us to type, please leave a comment for us. Or you can look into our fast track system to find out how you can get your favorite people typed sooner.